What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the SCSL Season 4. We're here for the round of 8. It's been quite the journey so far. A lot of one-sided matchups going through these brackets, but we're finally coming down to it, Xun. We're getting into these really close matchups, and then the semifinals and the finals are going to be quite heated.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of insane. I feel like Rush versus Bishop is going to be probably the most balanced matchup in the round of 8. I feel like Best versus Barracks, which we've got now, going to be a little bit best-sided. He's just an absolute monster in Protoss versus Terran. I kind of feel bad for Barracks. I feel like he's going to play okay, but Best is going to tear his arms off and beat him to death with them, I think.
Really? Okay, so you're predicting for Best. If you guys don't know, last season, Barracks managed to win the SCSL in Season 3, and he beat Snow, I believe, in the round of 16 on the way there. I believe it was a 3-1, and then he went through on TVT all the way to the finals and ended up winning SCSL there. This time he has to take on Best in a best of 7, so let's see if he can actually manage to break through. Since he is the winner of last season, I would give him a pretty good chance here. But yeah, Best has been looking really good. I'm not sure how to call that one.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to have to go with Best, not just because of personal preference, because I like him a lot. I actually like Barracks a lot too. He's one of the most mechanically gifted Terrans we've got in the entire scene. I just think that Best is so good in PvT, and he's not like a gimmick based Protoss like someone like Snow is, where he's more heavily reliant on, say, his shuttle Reaver control. Best is just fundamentally a very superior Protoss versus Terran player and doesn't need to rely on things like micro or what have you to carry himself forward, just with really solid macro and fundamentals and really great engagements and decision making. He just seems to dismantle all of the Terrans he comes across.
All right, well, maps are going to play a factor here. You can see the map pool completely different than last season. We got Eclipse, Metropolis, Death Valley, Deja Vu, Dominator, Polestar, Radion. You can see who picked each one. Of course, Best picking Eclipse for that first map. Standard stuff there, isn't it, Xun?
Yeah.
Protoss player grabbing Eclipse first.
I would say so. Probably going to be seeing some degree of gas steal or Nexus first, but it's kind of weird if you don't go for a gas steal on Eclipse, to be honest with you. There are some things you can do to stop that, SCV blocking the ramp or taking the gas prematurely at like 10 supply. Neither of those things are optimal for your economy, though. So generally speaking, you kind of are forced to suffer the gas steal and do a more bunker expand style of play. And the Protoss player will get away with the Nexus first as a result.
That does tend to be the way it goes. Let's see if Best wants to gas steal here on Eclipse. Map number 1, let's jump in. Oh. Are we missing sound?
I think so.
Hold on a minute here, guys. Bear with me. Looks like we've got the wrong file here. I apologize, guys. We're going to switch it up.
Please stand by while we try to connect you. There we go.
Little look behind the curtain there. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. All of you on SCTV EN watching live. Thank you. Not sure if we're going to get any sort of a cut there. That'll be up to our gracious host, StarCastTV producer. But we can't help but make a few mistakes here and there, can we, Xun?
No. I mean, we are human after all. At least I think I am. I haven't necessarily cut myself open to figure that out for sure yet, but no, I'm pretty sure I am human, and you are as well, unless we've somehow got implanted memories or something, Sam.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think we're just a couple of flawed human beings. And doing it live is a little bit more tricky than what we used to do, doing KCM offline and then having it all, you know, edited together later makes it a little easier, a little bit smoother.
Right.
There's the gas steal. Best already throwing a wrench into things for Barracks, and he's going to try and give him a not so smooth ride through this first game on Eclipse.
Yeah, this is to be expected. It's almost kind of par for the course on Eclipse. It's very weird if we don't see this opening from Best here. Trying to put a little bit of damage onto that SCV with the particle beam as well. Basically just wants to force another SCV off the line to, you know, deal with the probe. That's a little bit less mining time for the Terran player, as well as already getting ahead economically speaking from this Nexus first. So everything just aligning well for Best, and it is a forced cross map position as well on Eclipse. A little bit of extra seconds walking distance to get over there if you do want to, say, pull the boys and go for a quick bunker rush here. So all things considered, this is a very optimal build from Best.
Another option would have been to throw down a Barracks with this SCV that's on the other side of the map and try to go about it that way, but not going to do that.
Pulling the boys.
He is going to pull the boys. He got a couple of shots on that Marine. So the Marine taking about 10 HP damage. 15. No. Taking quite a bit of damage there. As it comes forward, probe going to be pulled all the way back. Looks like Best going to pull some of his probes as well with the Zealot. Can he stop this? Wow, a bunker way out here. This is a really far out bunker from Barracks. Can he actually convert?
Yeah, utilizing that gas in the main base of Barracks as well. We'll be able to drill with these probes, try and slide over the SCVs and get on top of those Marines. Trying to do that now. One Marine kind of isolated on the right-hand side, but we'll be able to flank and maybe catch this other Marine from the rally point. Just 2 more hits does finish that off. One probe finding the dust, but he has delayed this bunker going up. Meanwhile, good trap though from Barracks, catching 2 of those probes. Third Marine on the rally, getting intercepted and taken down. Another probe biting the dust. Just 5 more probes remaining here. He's going to want to slide these back to defend, maybe. Oh, actually uses them again to get on top of this Marine. Does catch another Marine. And now with the Zealot here, Barracks has to abandon this push entirely. I'm not actually sure if Best is ahead here. It's a lot of lost mining time from him. He made a shield battery behind that on top of that, so I kind of feel like this is going a little bit Barracks-sided. If he's made a shield battery and lost that many probes and lost that mining time for so long, I think Barracks is ahead.
That was a reasonable hold there from Best, but Barracks got some good target fire going. Managed to kill off quite a few probes. Yeah, I'm not really sure if Barracks is ahead here or not. The shield battery, it definitely is great. It's an awesome utility, but after losing a bunch of probes, that's not the building that you want. You don't want that building right there, right now. Would have been nice if he could have canceled it, but was doing a lot of micro there with his probes and getting on top of those Marines.
You know what's crazy? This actually might be fairly even because he has got double Nexi predicts his production for a little bit of time, which will help him catch up a tiny bit in the probe count, but he's still not that far ahead of Barracks in that worker count, so it's really hard to tell. It might be more even than we think. There might be a tiny edge here for Barracks, but maybe it's not as significant as I first thought.
Yeah, no SCVs went down during that interaction that I saw anyway.
Right.
That SCV pull, and all of them got back here to mine in the natural. So with this factory coming up now, is he going to follow up with a starport? I don't see a second factory just yet, Xun.
Yeah, no, he hasn't thrown that down yet. Oh, I think he just now threw down either a factory or a starport in his main base. We haven't got a shot of that just yet. But with this 3 Zealot pressure, might consider doing a run by. Now he knows there's no Vulture in sight, so he could go in there maybe, but seems like he just wants to get a check on the command center, guarantee that that's what's there. Maybe he was thinking about a bit of a run by, but saw the Barracks there to block as well. Makes it very suboptimal for something like a run by to occur. We'll be going straight into a 1-gate tech play following this up. It's pretty greedy in terms of Nexus first with going straight into this robo from 1 gateway, but since he held the initial pressure so well, he's safe to do that. He might be looking to take a very fast 3rd Nexus here as well.
Yeah, that Barracks position's really nice from Barracks, ironically. and managing to kind of predict that maybe Best would want to run by with those early zealots, knowing that he had to produce quite a few of those and didn't really kill any of the early zealots. So definitely there was that opportunity, but the Barracks shutting that down. And yeah, we might just go into a pretty normal game from here with the third Nexus coming on the way, and no clear advantage for either player here just yet.
Right. Yeah, I don't think either player is particularly ahead, actually. I think it is about even, like I eventually figured out. But honestly, this Nexus is not that early either. Like, it's a 7-minute Nexus. I would say fairly standard given the circumstances.
Yeah,
One thing
right
going for Best is that he does. One thing going for Best is that he does have zealots to load up in that shuttle, and that's an advantage. If you're going for a faster Reaver like this, you want to have 2 Zealots and a Reaver rather than just, a Dragoon and a Reaver. It's so much more effective to tank that extra damage.
Well, we'll see what Barracks has set up back at home for that. If he's going to have a full turret ring, Goliaths, and can shut this down. Best not known for having the greatest Reaver play. It's definitely not on Snow's level with that kind of fine movement with the shuttle. And look at this, Barracks has the full ring of turrets plus 2 Goliaths. He's not going to be taking damage from this early Reaver. It'll be up to Best to kind of identify that and then utilize the Reaver to slow down whatever push comes out from Barracks and try to slow down a third base if that is in the mind here for the Terran opponent.
Yeah, I think potentially this is a very tiny edge for Barracks still. And with how reasonably timed this third is, there's not a lot of pressure on Barracks. I mean, he has gone for fast 3 factory as well to catch up in his unit count. Usually this would be for a pressure play to attack the Protoss player, but given that it's against Nexus first and a gas steal, it's more just to make him survive this phase of the game and help him take his third base at a more reasonable timing. He's moving out right now. I don't think the shuttle can really get anything done. There's a Goliath with Karen boosters and the shuttle shooting. It does manage to zip this shuttle in with the speed upgrade. Tanks moving vision to get that. Does get a big Scarab connection off, taking 3 or so SCVs out, and is finding a pocket to exploit in the bottom left. Gets 1 Scarab connection on that second tank as well. So far so good for Best. There's already pretty much a sizable amount of damage with this threading of the needle with the shuttle.
So that shuttle is going to go down. Reaver here with only 3 kills. Inevitably going to be taken out. Oh my gosh. He's found the one spot where this Reaver can't be hit. There it is. Finally, he does get rid of that. Very annoying stuff there for Barracks, but I think reasonable hold there. That's a pretty crazy dive from Best with Goliaths and turrets already at the ready to go all the way in. That deep, you're definitely going to lose the Reaver, and getting like guaranteed damage, it's not 100%.
Right, I mean, he delayed some mining time, killed a few SCVs. It's not that much though. Barracks will have a 5 factory push timing, and it'll be a little bit harder now for Best to slow that down without extra shuttles and Reavers at his disposal. Luckily got another shuttle lined up, but that will give a few seconds of precious breathing room to Barracks to start making his way downtown prematurely here, and without this Reaver to get some pot shots as he advances like this, Barracks might put a lot of pressure onto Best right now. He's looking pretty good.
Here comes another shuttle. Is he really going to dive into the main again?
Wow.
It kind of looks like that's the plan. And then is Barracks just going to unsiege everything and go? This is not very well defended here. No turrets. Here comes that shuttle. It will make it into the main mineral line again. First shot goes down. Nothing here but a couple of vultures and a Goliath to try and hold this off. He's not targeting down the shuttle, and so he can continue to juggle this. There we go. Finally target on that shuttle. Can he actually take it out? One more hit. There we go. It goes down. And this Reaver with 13 kills. Still alive right now. Still hitting stuff in the main. It finally goes down. Big trade in the middle of the map as well, though.
There's still a lot of tempo here for Best to put the pressure on. Eventually, the Protoss player will have another shuttle on Reaver to slow this down, but for the time being, just predominantly relying on Zealot Goon. He's going to try and wait for that leg enhancements. Finally gets the speed upgrade for those Zealots. Gets on top of the siege tanks prematurely before they could siege up in time. So not a bad trade here for Best. Not the best case scenario either, but he's killing the majority of those tanks off just as those leg enhancements kicked into gear and allowed him to exploit that. But Barracks is still not done just yet. He's going to apply a lot of pressure, try and get to this rally point. There is a DT as well. Luckily, Barracks on top of things scans for that after losing just one singular tank. There is a Reaver here, but it's kind of dead in the water without Shuttle yet. Just now finishing, luckily for Best, so maybe he can still hold, but it's going to be tricky.
It's going to be a little tricky, but he's slowed things down by quite a lot. Lowered that tank count overall. Just gotta get out of this chokehold. Wiggle free here before he slaps it on D. Finally does get that Reaver into the mix. Nice target fire there before a second Scarab can come out. He's gonna kill a couple more tanks here perhaps, but there are so many rallies coming up and a lot of vultures here to run forward, start to lay down mines. Tanks pushing everything back. He's slapping on that chokehold. Xun. He's really gonna start to cut the oxygen off from this Protoss base. A few more Zealots trickle out here. Dude, is he actually gonna break out of this? It's crazy.
I mean, it's Best after all. He always breaks the seemingly unbreakable situations. For a second there, looked like Barracks had Best number and had it on speed dial, but Best being Best, just solid macro all around. And look at how many units are on screen right now. He never misses a beat when it comes to that mid-game production cycles. A clutch DT as well, taking out a tank that was softened up. And a little bit aggressive, though, from Best to go for a double shuttle into the main like that and commit a lot of his utility to harassing Barracks. And Barracks played as he should. Flash would have done the same back in the day, not turned his units around, keep attacking to the main trajectory point of that rally of the Protoss player. And despite all that great execution from Barracks, which is honestly quite stellar, Best still got the better of him.
Yeah, there were some questionable siege ups during some of those engagements, though, like the moment when the Zealots hit with the speed and he sieged every single tank. I mean, he did a great job of target firing the Dragoons with his tanks, not allowing the splash damage to hit those tanks. But dude, that was so many Zealots on top of the tanks. The tank count gets reset. It stays low, and that's what Best is great at. Just keeping the tank count low, engaging over and over and over again, and just getting those small little pickoffs that eventually turns into a rolling snowball that just can't be stopped. And Barracks just was not able to keep the momentum. Eventually, it turns on him, and he knows it, and he taps out. Guys, we're ready for game number 2. Best versus Barracks. Let's go.
우려의 목소리를 냈잖아요. 이거 방금 드는 생각인데 두 번째 셔틀 플레이가 없었으면 오히려 밀렸을 수도 있겠다라는 생각이 들어요.
Here is
그 셔틀
Barracks.
플레이로 인해서
Over in the top left, Best in the top right. Barracks Sisyphus. Isn't Sisyphus rolling the boulder up the hill and then, you know, getting rolled back down?
그런 생각이 들거든요.
The Protoss is the boulder in this analogy.
Well, I mean, Barracks has come a long way over the last couple of years. He's been improving immensely. He's a very mechanically gifted player, and this matchup in particular has caused him a lot of headaches, especially in you know, more recent times. It's not been as much of a factor, but it's still kind of a niggling doubt in the back of his mind, probably, about, you know, his chances of greatness. It's hard to be a complete player in StarCraft. You've always got like 2 matchups you're pretty good in, and this one matchup that's always holding you back. Like in Mong's case, it's actually the other way around, where it's TVZ that's holding him back. But like most Terrans, TVP always holding some of these guys back, Sam.
Yeah, his TVT does seem to be on another level, guys. He is a bit of a protege of Light, and in last season of ASL, or of SCSL, excuse me, we also cast the ASL. But the last season of SCSL, he managed to beat his master. He beat Light in the finals in TVT, so showing just some amazing progress and growth over the past couple of years to get to that level to beat that champion. And again, I said earlier, in that season, beat Snow 3-1 as well. So this guy is incredibly good, but it just, again, shows just how strong Best is right now, that he was able to take him down and stop him there coming across the map.
Yeah.
Game number 1.
Yeah. I think gone are the days where Barracks will be clowned on in a PvT. Like, we saw that a little bit in previous ASLs where he was struggling to deal with, say, Snow's Reaver Micro and what have you. I think gone are those days. He started to really figure out some of the kinks in his play, and he's smoothing out all those creases as time flies by. But still, someone like Best, who's just so fundamentally strong, doesn't need to rely on any kind of gimmicks as well, like I was talking about before. Like, this guy is just better than you in this matchup, genuinely speaking, and will crack open the most heavily fortified positions like no other Protoss can. And it's just, sometimes you wonder, like, how do you even beat someone like this? Because sometimes you put him into a situation where he shouldn't attack you, but he still will, and he still will win the fight. It just, there's not much you can do with someone like that.
아마 이제 프로부터 같이 정찰 나갈 겁니다.
Definitely the guy to learn from if you're interested in becoming, playing Protoss and you want to learn a bit about PvT. This guy plays very standard, and he's opened with a pretty standard build here. Going for a range expand with that Nexus. Pretty late. Like, this was not a super quick Nexus with the range expand.
Yeah,
So this is going to be nice and safe.
Let's talk a little bit quickly about what Barracks is doing here. He's hiding Marines, and he's going to go for a very strong FD push here. And he's getting away with not having to make a bunker. He sees there's no early Zealot to worry about. These first 3 Marines should push this first Dragoon back. Might take a few shots on one of them before the range kicks in. Doesn't have to worry too much until the range finally finishes. And he will probably have a very strong FD push with this tank rolling out. I mean, 7 Marines is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of shots that he can block from Best here. 27, considering the one shot has already been taken. Now 26, now 25. But it's still plenty of tanking power to push all the way through Best. And Best will only have like 3 Dragoons to try and stop this.
Yeah, this is a pretty good move from Barracks. It might not kill Best here, but it might do a little bit of damage, kill some Dragoons. Don't want to lose the tank here, though. That's the main thing. Not losing the tank is important. Oh, Barracks! Come on, man.
You hate to see it, saying, but sometimes it happens to the best of us, unfortunately, pun unintended. But I mean, I guess he's got the mines to lay down in the wake of these Marines, but not even going to be enough. He has to kind of pull the trigger on committing these Marines in here to try and kill a Probe or a Dragoon, because there's no way of falling back to just 1 mine for safety. Just, it's unbelievable, man. Like, it's so hard to play against someone like Best and not fumble the ball. Like, he has to play almost flawlessly, or he's going to get picked apart by this guy. And unfortunately, we've seen that happen here, where the tank was slightly overextended to the forward position of those Marines, and just couldn't get it out of the way in time. And unfortunately, even with 3 Dragoons able to come in and free volley that tank down quite efficiently.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, Barracks, the point of that push is that you got the 5 Marines there, and if you try to dive on the tank with 3 Dragoons, it takes 3 volleys. Those Marines are going to rip apart the shields and health of a lot of those Dragoons. You'll probably be able to get multiple kills if he goes for a dive, but not all the Marines were there. Not all the Marines were firing, and Best just sidesteps that attack with no damage taken. Kills a tank, loses nothing. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy it's able to do this well against an opener like that should have been able to do some damage. Barracks is not a pushover, but Best is making him look like one.
Yeah, this is the problem, is that Best can make even the better Terrans look silly sometimes. And yeah, sometimes they just don't have an answer for it. It depends on how well Best is playing on any given day. You sometimes get like a kind of hit and miss Best, where he's kind of playing okay and it looks like he's losing the game. He'll still sometimes even win those games eventually with some crazy engagement in the later phases. But there's some games where from start to finish, he's just smashing face, and there is absolutely zero counterplay, or seemingly zero counterplay to it.
Yeah, it's funny, guys. Like, Barracks came up with this strong FD push. It's kind of like a skill check. Like, hey, are you ready for this? Are you ready for 7 Marines and a tank coming into your natural? Are you going to be able to, juggle your Dragoons enough and, split the damage and kite all this perfectly? And S just goes for the kill. It's so funny. Sometimes the direct option is the best option, and that's what Best keeps proving over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, that was very kung fu of Best to just be like, no nonsense, and just like strikes him straight down the middle.
Oh my!
Is what it is. But we got a crazy play from Barracks, proxying 2 extra factories, hopefully to get some vulture run-bys on Best while he's being contained by this massive Dragoon pressure.
Oh my
He has a siege
god!
mode right now. He's just gonna dive on these tanks. The tanks are out of position. The SCVs have to be pulled off the line to try and screen against this. Pretty good blocking from the SCVs, but not nearly good enough. So many of these tanks are going to die, Saiyan, and then some SCVs to add to the list as soon as they do. I mean, one thing going for Barracks is that if Best isn't even thinking about vultures out on the map, then maybe these proxy factories will be successful. He hasn't actually blocked both of the ramps at that 3 o'clock location. I think that's a Dragoon on the ramp at the north and a pylon wall at the south. So if he lays mines on that Dragoon on the ramp, he could kill a lot of probes.
I don't know if these 2 proxy factories even matter anymore. He just lost so many tanks. Whatever he does is just not going to have the pushing power any longer that he needs to break through something. The defenses that Best is going to put together, the slowdown force that Best is going to put together. He's trying to climb out right now, but we see a drop going into the main. Right now, Best is going to start firing here. Ooh, 3 kills right off the bat. No tank in range of this Reaver, and all these SCVs are trapped in the corner. He should be able to get a good shot here, but he's going to back away for now. Keep that Reaver alive and at high health, because he doesn't know about these. He's so close with those Dragoons. He's barely out of vision of that.
He's like a few X tiles from spotting those factories. It's kind of insane. I don't think he's going to see them either. He's going to rotate his Dragoons more towards the northern threshold now, waiting for this push-out timing from Barracks. And, I mean, maybe these vultures will be successful. I mean, it's possible. He could also use these vultures to lay down mines behind the retreating Dragoons. That's also an option here for Barracks. He can lay down mines behind the Dragoons as they're trying to pull back, and then just keep pushing down with these tanks. But he's being a little bit slow with those tanks pushing from the rally point area, so I don't think these vultures will be too successful here. It's a really nice idea from Barracks, but the execution it hasn't been able to materialize.
Yeah, he's slowing this down with Reaver too well. You just can't push tanks straight into those Reavers, so he's not able to get up here as quickly as he'd like to, and now the vultures have kind of been spent. They've thrown down all of their mines, and a lot of them have been killed. Best is going to be pushed all the way up into his natural. Now, can he put together another back-breaking force to smash through what Barracks has here? He's actually getting him into a pretty good containment position, but he's got no anti-air. No anti-air at all. I don't see a turret even yet.
Yeah, he's got the TV to make turrets, but it's not going to be in time. Here comes his Zealot bombs already on that siege line, and as well now the Reaver's popping out for some beautiful Scarab connections, letting 3 of those tanks and shoulder, and a 4th now. Even catches a Reaver onto that western tank, takes that out as well. Best has broken out. There's only 2 more siege tanks remaining, and another pair of Reavers unloading to force the GG out of Barracks for a quick 2-0 lead, Saiyan.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy what Best is able to do, man. It is wild to me every time I watch it. Every time I see this guy play, it's like it's a whole new adventure, man. It's crazy.
Right. I mean, it's an adventure through the jungle. He's taken us on the safari experience here, saying, welcome to the jungle. It's time to play. And Best, he's in that driver's seat.
Yeah, he's just won on Barracks' map pick, and now it's time for his once again. It's going to be Death Valley. Best second map pick for game number 3. Let's check it out. So with Best going into game number 3 with a lead, here he is in the top left-hand corner. Barracks down in the bottom right.
I mean, we're here for fun and games for sure with Best now on Death Valley. There's so much range of play that Barracks will have to be wary of. There are also a few shenanigans Barracks himself could pull in the way of like a proxy factory floated into Best main here or what have you. Definitely some options available to our Terran player. Looks like he's going to be walling in at this Troy gates, which is to be expected. You don't necessarily want to keep this open as Terran. And there's no real reason not to wall in, since you can do it with just 2 buildings.
Let's see what kind of tricks Best has for us. He's already sending out a probe, likely to steal the gas. I believe you can totally wall this in, though, if he throws down a barracks in time, right? So that should prevent the gas steal and waste a lot of this probe time walking across the map.
Yeah, you can see he's like building the barracks at like 10 supply just to like really make sure there's very little chance of this probe getting in here and causing shenanigans. So he's taking a small hit to his economy to do this play. 10 racks, usually something you only see in TVZ if they want to put on some early naked marine pressure, unless they're doing a very fast proxy factory play. You'd also make a 10 barracks. In TVP though, not really a build, to be honest with you. So he's kind of adjusting on the fly just to make sure that he's got this map a little bit more dialed in and trying to avoid any kind of early shenanigans from Best. Best just going to throw down a fast Nexus in response.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Go ahead and take that Nexus here. The barracks is faster, so there might be more Marines. In that case, you know, we could see perhaps an SCV pull. What do you think, Xun?
I mean, maybe. I mean, without the gas steal, you don't necessarily have to do that play, obviously. But it's certainly a viable option here for him. And he's actually chasing down this SCV with the probe, so he might not even be able to confirm this Nexus first, at least for a little bit of time. And he hasn't been producing Marines, so I don't think we are going to be seeing anything like that, say. And I think this is going to be a teched out play from Barracks.
Well, just this early probe control seems to have slowed down Barracks a bit. 235 starting his factory, which is about 5 seconds behind when you usually would with a 12 gas. Be able to get that factory online, so pretty late there.
Yeah, that's also a factor because of the 10 racks, right? It's cutting into his economy a little bit as well, so everything will be slower as well on top of that.
Yeah, just putting down that rack so early in order to keep the probe scout out, and then having one SCV off the line fighting that probe scout as well. It's just a lot of these things are coming together to have Barracks just a little bit behind the curve, and Best to have the best possible chance to hold on to whatever sort of pressure is coming out of him next.
Right, and we got an early Zealot here from Best just to make sure this naked marine pressure won't be too successful. And there's the pulling of the boys, so he actually is going to be going for that. He's moved his barracks out the way for the Vulture rally as well. And with good micro, these 3 Marines can apply a lot of pressure to this first Zealot. Does manage to get one punch cycle onto those Marines. Trying to look for a second combo now. Does find it to put a lot more damage onto those Marine units. Hasn't really focused on the micro enough. Has taken a lot of punches. All 3 of those Marines are basically one-shot kills unless it's a probe. There'll be 2 shots. But with the second Zealot putting damage onto this SCV building the bunker, maybe he can stop this with just probes and Zealot alone. But the Vulture will make that very difficult to accomplish, so it looks like for the time being going to be evacuating the probes into the main base and allowing this bunker rush to continue.
So one thing about Death Valley we have to take into consideration is that yes, you can kill this Nexus, but it's even easier to recover from losing the Nexus when you do a Nexus first here on this map. You can let the bunker kill your Nexus and just send a probe down to the bottom left. Go ahead and get the other Nexus started as soon as possible. You don't need to wait for Dragoon range for the bunker or for Observer to get rid of those mines. Now, that's only if he holds on against a army running up into his main right now. This is kind of crazy for Barracks. This is definitely not recommended. Probes can be pulled and make this an absolute nightmare. You just lose pretty much straight up if you just lose all of your army trying to break that main base.
하지만 뒷마당 바로
Yeah, plus 3 of those Marines are one shot to those Dragoons as well, so not an ideal choice there from Barracks. So he does wisely tuck tail back to the safety of that bunker, and like you said, Best now taking the other Nexus spot, and because he evacuated the probes into the main base, it's actually not that bad for the Protoss player as long as you save those probes. Because of how many SCVs were pulled, it's a pretty big commitment from the Terran player, and as long as you maintain that worker count, it's not too bad for the Protoss overall. It seems like the supplies are indicating that Barracks is in a comfortable position, but it will be a long time before he's producing 2 SCVs at a time from his own expansion finishing up. So it's hard to say who's ahead right now. Maybe there's a small edge going towards Barracks. It remains to be seen.
I actually like this for Best because we've seen so many games where the Protoss loses their Nexus and then they have to wait for this Observer to come out before clearing everything and getting the Nexus going. Best doesn't have to worry about any of that. He immediately took another Nexus. So, I mean, if that's come back, if it's come back, you can come back from it on a normal map. Here on Death Valley, he's going to be feeling very comfortable. We'll see how this plays out. He's open now to the largest part of the map. The left-hand side of the map has way more bases, and so he'll start to expand that way. He is going to go check and make sure that Barracks still has his mineral wall up at the bottom of his base, and you can see that now is being mined. You can see an SCV going back and forth there. Just one SCV slowly opening that up. He wants to open it up a little bit so that he can possibly sneak out vultures, but he doesn't want to open up too much so an entire army can suddenly run up that direction. That's not where he has most of his defenses.
Right, and that probe scout was pretty much beautifully timed to identify that wall as it was being mined out, and now is confirmed that vultures are on their way. Needs to be careful about walling off this ramp area where the mineral only is situated. He's going to want to take that Nexus any moment now. There it goes at the 7-minute mark, but we'll intercept these vultures. Interesting spotter pylon here from Best to give him some vision and full warning on anything coming in on this little middle lane area. Yeah, I think you might be right. Maybe it's not so bad for Best here, all things considered, although both of their expansions finished at the same time. Technically speaking, that favors the Terran player. We'll have to see how it plays out on Death Valley. Maybe you're right. Maybe the tactical advantage of having access to the rest of the map sooner allows the Protoss to also put on more pressure with a faster Reaver in the main base of the Terran.
2 kills, 3 kills. Not bad. 3 kills here for Barracks. Best goes back to mining here in a moment. Currently paying attention to this Reaver, which is lighting things up in the main base. Going to try and get rid of that turret. Initially 1 SCV sacrifice to try and save that. 2 SCVs go down, trying to keep that turret alive, but he manages to punch through. 1 more shot. Can he get the big money shot here? Not quite. That Zealot kind of switching teams, doing a little bit of work for the Barracks squad.
Yeah, he basically held that dud out. It's 4 seconds till that Scarab duds out. All the turrets in a great position. Just 1 more hit left on that shuttle. He's kind of forced to be committed to this bottom right pocket now. But, I mean, Barracks rebuilt that very quickly, the turret there, so he's going to have not much room to wiggle. He might just evacuate with this Reaver now. Like, there's not really any damage that can be done. And honestly, this is looking pretty good for Barracks.
I can't believe he got that Reaver out. That's crazy. Just such a small sliver of space below the turret, which he could kind of navigate through there. That's kind of rough for Barracks. He'd like to kill that shuttle and just kind of remove that as a factor. Now, Best gonna go back home, pick up a couple more Reavers, probably a few more shuttles as well, and he's cleared out the top side. Now he has both vectors of attack. He could come down into this natural, or he could try to slide into the main as well. So things are gonna get a little tricky here for Barracks as time goes on. Because the tanks were trying to be mobile here to maybe defend against attack coming into the main base, but he dives forward, immediately kills off 1 tank, and just gonna back away.
I mean, he might kill the Barracks as well. If he kills that Barracks, actually a pretty big deal because he can't produce any additional factories for a moment. Yes, if he tries to repair it, doesn't quite make it in time, unfortunately. Now he can't produce any additional production facilities. Oh, but the two Goliaths will intercept this shuttle. Best isn't paying attention, is forced to commit the Reaver, and that's suboptimal to say the least. I mean, the Reaver's technically alive, but it's not going to accomplish much down here. It's essentially a sitting duck in a barrel that will now be shot by a few units. Although he does kill a few, a big Goliath here, maybe a few SCVs. It's not the worst trade imaginable. Just sliding or slugging away from that first tank if he kills his other tank. Best somehow getting value out of these units that really he shouldn't be.
Ooh, double expansion started up here at the third base. This is mineral only, so not the optimal base to take right now, but he's managed to snag that and at least get some mineral income going. I don't know, Barracks, his position seems so shaky with the way that Best is able to hit from both sides. It's very hard to rotate your army here as a Protoss player, but Barracks really doesn't have good information about where that army is right now. And so Best could be all in on the bottom side or all in on the top side. He just doesn't know.
You're right about that, but the main problem was losing that Barracks. He's not been able to spend any of his money. Like, he's not had the production facilities that he needs right now. He should have at least like 1, 2, maybe even 3 more factories in this situation, and he hasn't. He's currently even on supply somehow. He's taken a third base, so the longer this goes on, the better it will be for Barracks. But for a moment there, I was worried that he wasn't going to be able to produce enough units to fortify both of these positions. But it looks like he actually might still be able to get away with that. And he's being fairly active with hunting down things like observers, so it really limits the information that Best has on where to strike. So maybe he can still navigate this kind of slightly shaky position. I mean, he seems to be doing well with it so far.
Well, that bit of extra resources that Barracks gathered up when he wasn't able to make those extra factories to spend that money, he invested it into a third base, and I imagine he invested into a starport and science facility as well, though we haven't seen it on screen here just yet. Getting into those later upgrades is a good way to spend that money. Now he, I assume, has a Barracks. There it is, Barracks. He's got a good factory count. I didn't see a starport. Did you, Xun?
No, he's went 6 factory. I don't think he has a starport.
All right,
he's making it now.
No starport here. Just gonna batten down on 3 bases. Try to weather the storm here, which is definitely coming. Best looking for an opening. Can he actually get some damage going and start to lower this tank count? Ooh, right on top of these tanks. There's the drop. Does he have a Reaver in here as well? I haven't seen it just yet. There's the Reaver. It pops out. Good target fire there from Barracks. He's not lost that many tanks so far. Here comes the Dragoons into the front. Some of these tanks are very low, so he's going to target those down as quickly as he can and then try to back out. I imagine a little round of Zealots mixed in here. I can't imagine this breaks Barracks, though, and Barracks holds strong. Okay, good fight here from Barracks, taking some momentum now.
Yeah, no, I really like this more and more for Barracks. I was already kind of thinking he was okay, and now more than ever, he looks in great shape. We finally do see some high Templars from Best, as well as a fourth base being taken. He needs that extra gas critically. But I mean, this looks really good for our Terran player, and he's going to kill these units on the high ground here to the right as well, with that floating Barracks and scan providing vision. I mean, look at the supplies right now. This is insane. He's 16 supply ahead of Best. He could just go for a full-on push. I mean, look how scared Best is. He's evacuating the Nexus already and just going to kill his own geysers, knowing that he can't hold this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice option for Best. At least he has that as a potential. He can just go ahead and kill his assimilator and lock Barracks out of pushing that direction up into the main. He probably could have waited a little longer, let Barracks spread out further on the map, you know, come all the way up there, and then force him to turn around and go the other direction. But you know, I think it's still a great move. Barracks will get down here in time, though, to block any counterattack from Best, and brings his full army. Now he can focus everything into one lane, and that actually is very good for the Terran player.
Oh, absolutely. I think this might be a Barracks victory if we continue on this trajectory. So far, it's been really amazing for him at every turn. He's really actually outplayed best in this game. And this was, you know, a Protoss map pick, so he's certainly securing some tempo and some of his mojo back in this set. It would be almost impossible for him to win if he went 3-0 down here, but now it's looking a lot more hopeful. Getting some of these Dragoons as well, laying mines in the wake of those while the tanks just roll on without relying on siege mode. He's making great ground on pushing this mineral-only area. It's like he's taking the high ground away from Best and wants to set up there. Best, though, trying to intercept with a lot of speed zealots on the ground. Now with high Templar support, we better blanket this army of Storms. Barracks is going to have to pay more attention to his army control and pre-split these tanks, because those are some monstrous Storms coming out from Best. He has to be careful.
Yeah, this is the critical area that Best cannot allow Barracks to hold. That high ground, once that's been fully set up here, Best is going to have a heck of a time breaking through that position, and so he's trying to get up on that high ground, preempt that, throw down some storms, but look at this army. Barracks has so many tanks to work with, and what we see on screen here for Best just isn't enough, I don't think, to stop it.
No. I mean, he has to be careful. I mean, he has now got into a pretty great position. Best might not be able to break this. I mean, he would need quite a lot of speed shuttles dive bombing on top of those siege tanks to make this successful. He's got a lot of his units stationed at this newly acquired gas expansion. He's making a ton of zealots right now. He's not even bothering to mine this third gas. He's going to wrap around the eastern flank here and see if he can catch Barracks out of position, but he's already shuffled over his tanks. He's covering both lanes appropriately. Will now start to push quite hard on the left here and try and squeeze Best out of this game slowly but surely. It's not going to be much room to maneuver here for Best in a few moments. He's going to need some very phenomenally good storms to buffer against this, and there's not much in position to slow down this advance.
I would love to see Barracks spread his tanks out just a little bit more, knowing that there's going to be storms, no doubt. Those high ground tanks are pretty stacked up. This counterattack getting absolutely shut down. This is the strength of holding this high ground on Death Valley, is that you just can't go around this army. You have to engage it no matter which way you go. Either lane walks right past this high ground, and so the tanks are going to be laying down fire on top of all of that stuff, and Best is running into a wall right now. He's actually waffling back and forth with some of his shuttles, I guess not making a full-on decision here whether he wants to engage the army or whether he wants to drop. Now he's dropping down at 6 o'clock. Might be able to get some big storms there to actually start picking off a lot of SCVs. We're not getting it on screen right now, but he's definitely doing storm damage.
Yeah, he's doing some more continuation damage in the third base location as well, so it's a great maneuver here from Best, but it might not be enough to snuff Barracks out. He's already encroaching on his rally point location, going to be maybe eliminating this newly acquired gas expansion. Best did set up another base in that bottom left pocket. That might be the one saving grace of Best in this game if he does maintain this current state. He's going to try and go for it now. Speed shuttles dive bombing on top of the siege tank, taking now them in short order, but that's a massive row of tanks that now fully sieged up in the back line. Best has to pull back and withdraw. Some more storm drops occurring in that third base location from Best as well, trying to cut off the head of the snake back at home and preventing more heads from growing. But I don't know, man, like, it's a nice play here from Best. He's avoiding direct confrontation. He's got a small hit squad now hitting this middle only location. If he can kill these forces here and kill this CC, it's going to be great, but for the price of that, he's going to be losing at least 2 of these bases.
Yeah, this can't go on for Best. He actually has to get it even more chaos, make even more chaos going on here. Looks like he's going to take down these 2 tanks. My gosh, that small group of Dragoons getting so much damage. Oh, the SCV is falling here at the third to that one shuttle with 1 High Templar sitting there on the high ground is crazy. Now bringing forward a lot of Dragoons and Zealots to try and break this. Tanks are going to move forward, set up on this high ground, and he should be splitting off some tanks here soon to go take down this base, although there's no real probage over there. A lot of shuttles running forward, huge drops with tons of zealots here on the back line of tanks. Can he actually break this Xun? It's crazy, but he's starting to make progress. He is going to get through all this.
How does he do it? I feel like Jesse Pinkman right now. He can't keep getting away with this, Saiyan. How does he do this? Like no other Protoss player can pull off what he just did. That was such an entrenched Terran position and such a tiny ramp to control his Dragoons manually down to get into appropriate firing positions as well. The execution is otherworldly from Best, and suddenly surging ahead in supply by about 44 or so. He's got more shuttles making their way downtown to the 6 o'clock location as well. He is not done with Barracks yet. With this fresh space in the bottom left pocket, that lifeline might pay a lot of dividends. Beautiful mine connection on these units as they're popping out. He hasn't got a High Templar yet that's been launched from those shuttles. Looks like he's kind of hooing and hawing about whether or not he should commit to that or not. Unfortunately for Best, he's not been able to be successful with these drops, and they will be taken out. But I mean, he has technically weathered the storm from Barracks for the time being. The question is, can Best go all the way on a slightly diminished economy?
Well, Best, like Walter White, you just got to let him cook, man. Best here, I mean, he just keeps on hanging in there over and over again, and Barracks is getting a little flustered. You can tell, like, he's been losing so many SCVs here. He's having such a hard time. I mean, he just did clear out that very kind of blind drop. Oh my gosh, one more storm. He just barely managed to get the energy for that. Doesn't get any kills for it, but still a little moral victory there for Best bringing a lot of Templar forward here. That earlier drop lost most of his shuttles, so he doesn't really have a lot of shuttles here with the army just yet. Should be having some more of those pop out of the rally here in a moment, but oh man, this is one of the great games I've seen on Death Valley. These guys are really bringing it down to the wire.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Barracks does still have 2 bases worth of economy, which is essentially all you need as Terran to have a fighting chance. But look how low his worker count is, especially on that 3rd base location. He's cleaning up the vultures at his natural expansion now, getting another Nexus set up. That means he'll be back up to about 4 bases worth of mining, although the mineral only at Best is about to be mined out. So we're kind of resetting the game state a little bit economically speaking. Best, though, looking to make some big value trades. All of these Terran army are clumped up. If you get some big storms on there, it's going to be lights out for Barracks. Luckily, there's no shuttle support for these High Templars for the time being, so Barracks will get away with slightly sloppy tank positioning, and these High Templars, like you can see on screen, getting sniped immediately if they try and go for those massive AoE spells.
I don't know how Barracks wins this next fight without sniping some of these High Templar before. That's so much storm. And now there's shuttles as well with a bunch of zealots inside for bombs. It's going to be so hard to hold on, prevent this attack from just coming in and smashing through all of the tanks. It's actually rotating around the side. Can he pick off one of those shuttles? He's going to target one of the shuttles. Shuttle could go down here before losing any units. He does lose one of the shuttles. That's huge. Very big move here for Barracks, and he's getting closer and closer to this one of the few remaining bases here for Best, although he has started to expand on the other side of the map.
Yeah, sniping a shuttle was like 10 supply immediately being deleted. Best slightly pushing forward now, but Barracks being tentative, only pushing with like a few tanks at a time, not giving too many target options for Best. He's rotated though to the 6 o'clock position yet again with another massive storm drop. Kills pretty much every single SCV but one there. But there is still ground being made by Barracks. He might be able to put a clock on this Nexus in the bottom left, which would reset the economy quite significantly for Best as well. This game is kind of nuts and hard to call it, to be honest with you. This is a very entrenched position from Barracks. I don't think there's enough Protoss to chew through it. There's some High Templars down here, but I don't see any shuttle support to break out anytime soon. We'll have to wait and see. He's actually going to get one of these tanks killed off, which reduces the time to kill. Increases the time to kill on that Nexus very significantly. All of these probes, though, dead in the water against his vultures. With good target firing, Barracks might have killed quite a few of them, but Best is very quick to respond to that threat and cleans up the vultures very easily.
And Best's army just happened to be standing right there. It was actually moving towards the middle of the map, but Right as that Vulture raiding party came in, he immediately was able to jump to and get rid of that. Diving in now, getting some Templar kills. That's what I'm talking about. Needs to get some of these Templar kills before the actual engagement if he wants to win any of these fights. That's a lot of Goliath Xun. If he tries to dive on this right now, there's tons of mines to the north, and these Goliaths to gun down the shuttles. Oh, he's not target firing. Okay, now he's going to target fire, but it's too late. A lot of these Zealots get out on top of the tanks, and they are going to draw a lot of that splash damage as well. Barracks, I mean, he holds for now. He still hasn't killed the Nexus, though, and he just doesn't have the economy behind this to really keep pumping. He's at 98 supply, man. He just doesn't have much SCVs over that third or that fourth. It's kind of a crazy game right now. Can he actually get a fourth? Can he pump 4 SCVs at a time and try to regain the economy that he once had?
Barracks is actually double expanding in the top right and the bottom left. I think the top right has been discovered very quickly by Best. I'm sure he'll have to cancel that one up there in the top right. But maybe he can hold this one in top left. Oh no, he's killing some of the High Templars in transit, saying that's a lot of pressure storm down the drain. And this tank count is healthy enough that he could go all the way and encroach on this gas expansion to the north here. Definitely a viable attack path for Barracks now that he's killed that much of the splash damage potential of Best. I don't think there's enough Protoss to slow this down. There's 3 shuttles waiting on standby to launch a counterattack on top of those siege tanks as they get into position. We'll have to see how successful they'll be in doing so. Some vultures are also here to help screen against those vultures as they flood out. Most of those siege tanks aren't even in siege mode though, so pretty efficient cleanup here from Barracks. Finally, Best getting over here with some Sonic Storms. Those are brutal storms, chewing through the majority of that Terran metal, but he hasn't got a lot of infantry on the ground to follow it up, so we actually might still lose this Nexus critically.
Yeah, that Nexus is going to go down. A rare moment of misattention there, unattentiveness from Best is actually given a huge window to Barracks. Right as he was coming up on that high ground, he killed a bunch of storms that enabled this attack to be successful, to actually kill off this Nexus. And now Best is not mining. I mean, he's mining off of one base that just came up. His old natural is finally mining, but Barracks mining on 2 bases. He's about to be mining on 3. That's not sustainable for a Protoss player. He has to change something soon.
Yeah, in a way, these storm drops on the SCV lines have helped out Barracks in terms of his mineral smoothing. He'll have a lot more bases to mine from for quite some time due to how little the saturation has been available to him for some time. And yeah, Best is going to be long distance mining off of this base for a little bit until that Nexus finally kicks in. I mean, I feel like Barracks is still able to close this game out potentially. There was some wild back and forth there and crazy positioning plays from both sides, but it does look like it's leading towards a more Terran-sided game. But Best is not done yet. He's going to clear out some mines here on this western flank, force the Terran to commit a lot of his resources and units into holding this, so we'll buy some breathing room and not allowing any more attack paths to come, and trying to get a storm drop on this newly acquired base of Barracks as well. Kills just a few SCVs there and denies some mining time. Not quite finding that critical damage he's looking for though.
It's crazy what we're seeing right now. We've got a 2-2 Protoss player against 1-1 Terran at 28 minutes and 1 Terran on 5 base. It's this is a wild game, guys. There's no stopping here for either player. Both just pedal all the way to the floor, getting out as many units as possible and just clashing over and over and over again, their heads together like a couple of bucks in the rut. Bunch of Zealots go down, bunch of probes are going to fall, and here's a counterattack from Best. Can Barracks pull this together? I think he can just transfer these workers and wait for Best to run into him at this other base, because he's denying the base from him as well.
But he's back down to one base mining. That vulture counterattacked, killed that Nexus.
Yes.
So I mean, this is a really bizarre situation Best finds himself in. He has to do a lot of heavy lifting with these siege tanks. That's some nice mind drag attempts from him to try and eliminate those siege tanks, not quite finding the connections he was looking for. And now these Dragoons kind of stranded at this 6 o'clock location, unfortunately for him. Supplies dangerously even as well. Barracks looking to maybe go on the offensive or just reposition to defend this third base in the middle here of him. I don't know, man. Like, this is a really crazy game with just one base mining for Best versus these 2 bases for Barracks, with a potential third as well, because he's floating over his main CC, I believe, to the 6 o'clock pocket. And that's going to be devastating for Best if he's up against this many bases of Terran.
Well, this base is about to run out, but I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of Barracks going after the units here on high ground after they killed the base right over here at the mineral only. I felt like it's unnecessary if he just transfers the workers and sets up a defensive position, lets Best come to him. As long as he keeps denying another base, he should be able to win outright. Top right is being taken by Best right now, and these units on the left, on this side, don't really matter. They can run away as far as Terran is concerned. Let them leave and just deny that base in the top right, and he should be fine. He's still trying to run this down, though. He's still trying to aggress into Best, and he's actually doing a good trade here, but I feel this is kind of unnecessary trying to kill this army right now when there's much bigger problem in the top right. If he can deal with that, he should be able to win this game.
Yeah, he has got some forces up there now trying to apply pressure to Best, and with these tanks on this high ground location, it's very difficult to dislodge Barracks from that without a lot of shuttle support. And I don't think he's got that many shuttles, just 1 or 2 on the map, I believe. Has actually got another shuttle just slightly off screen, which is now coming into view. Going to attempt to drop some units on that backline of siege tanks, as well as a High Templar trying to blanket those critical vulture units, which will be screening and doing a lot of the heavy tanking for this force on this position. But maybe Best can still break through this. It seems like he will be able to do so, and has still got this top right pocket with a Nexus set up. Barracks is launching an assault to that now to try and see if he can clear out this area before Best can get over here and defend it. But with predominantly only vultures, maybe Best can push all of this back and get to mining, although a lot of probes potentially being intercepted.
Yeah, Barracks has the right idea here, catching these probes as they try to transfer and forcing Best to engage into him. It wasn't like a perfect trade there with the tanks from the high ground. The shuttles definitely did some good work, but I mean, he still had to trade, and any trade right now is bad for Best. He needs to like crush units with just pure Zealot bombs or High Templar Storm to get a win at this point. He's just too far behind. 40 supply advantage for Barracks here, and he has continued to deny that top right-hand corner. Finally, these few Dragoons will be killed, and with that, we should see a tap out. Best just doesn't have any options left.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything he can really do against Barracks now. There's just too much of an army lead. He's got this massive force on the northern lane and loads of tanks on the other side of the map as well. So, I mean, Best is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. I don't even know how he's going to stop both of these forces. I mean, it is possible that Barracks decides not to attack. Like, he's got these forces just kind of hanging out in the center of the board. But even so, I mean, Best just isn't mining right now. This other base has become mined out. He's essentially long distance mining from this point onwards, and you know, Barracks can be quite tactical about how he wants to engage Best and not commit too many of his forces out on the map until he's very sure about where he should leverage them. So this should be a slow victory by 1,000 cuts here from our Terran player.
Yeah, Best is basically praying for a massive mistake from Barracks at this point. That's the only thing that'll give him a possibility of coming back in this game. I really don't think it's much of a hope here, but Best is going to stay in for a little bit longer. Got to frustrate Barracks a little bit. Barracks, like you were saying, he doesn't need to attack. Oh gosh, Storm from the high ground are pretty nasty. This is a good trade for Best. Doesn't even take that mine damage either and puts some really good pressure on that army, lowering a lot of the health of those tanks so that they'll die to one single storm coming up. Oh my gosh, that could have been an insane mine connection there, but it doesn't happen, and now Best is kind of holding this high ground over here, may be able to secure another Nexus, but again, 2 base versus 1 base mining once that comes online.
Yeah, I mean, you need to get so many cost-efficient storms to make this work. The only thing going for Best is that he hasn't got any bases out on the other side of the map to worry about defending. But inversely, he also doesn't have enough mining bases to really keep up with the Terran. So while it might look good for Best temporarily, that he can kind of hang on this northern threshold against these forces, long-term, this doesn't end up being viable for him in any way, shape, or form. The longer this goes on, the more untenable it will become. We still see some attempts from Best to shark around with shuttles and get some storm drops, like here on this 4th base location. It seems like Barracks is being very on top of his unit fluidity, though. He's actually going to catch a shuttle with some current boosted Hellfire missiles, takes that out. And now that's just one more tool out of the box for Best to play with. And this is looking more and more like a Barracks victory.
There it is. GG is called. Best finally taps out there. Yeah, really well played by Barracks. I mean, that last little move was pretty cheeky, sending the vultures all the way around the top right-hand corner into the back line, catching the probes, being sent to mine at that fresh base. It caught Best a little bit off guard. It took away his attention, then he lost the shuttle. Ugh. What a great game on Death Valley, Xun. That's probably one of the best TVTs we've ever had on that map, and maybe the best that we will ever have, because this map is ready for the scrap heap. That's not going to be around too much longer.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that we get to see a little bit of Death Valley in its death throes. Really fun, spicy wildcard of a map. We've had some really spectacular, unexpected matchups on it. And this today was certainly one of them. Really back and forth. It was actually really tough to call for a while there. There was moments where I was kind of speechless by how Best was able to break apart the positions of Barracks. But I mean, the overall game plan from Barracks was pretty good, it has to be said. Despite having, really slow upgrades and kind of behind the curve on that, his positioning, his aggressive expansion paths were just really well done. And ultimately, there was just not many answers from our Protoss player as a result.
Excellent game on Death Valley. Finally, a win on the board for Barracks as well. The series will continue, guys. We're jumping into our next game. Let's get it. All right, that Death Valley game was so crazy. I forgot even where we're at in this series.
This is game 4.
So
that's 2-1.
2-1. Not quite on match point here just yet. Barracks trying to make a comeback. Yeah, but that was a much needed win there for Barracks. I mean, technically it wasn't match point, but going 3-0 down right off the bat to someone like Best, you're probably going to lose the best of 7. I mean, winning 4 games in a row in TVP is a big ask. 3 in a row is possible, 4 is a little ridiculous. So yeah, that was definitely a much needed tempo victory for our Terran player going forward in this series. And he was our previous SCSL champion. Maybe he can do it again and surprise us and make a bit of a comeback. I mean, taking out Best would be maybe the biggest achievement of the tournament. Best is in such form right now. It takes a player like Solki to take him down, and Solki not in this tournament. Maybe Best can be the Season 4 champion. It might happen.
Yeah, no, it certainly might be occurring here. I would kind of like to see it, to be honest with you. I think Best is one of the more deserving players of these titles, and has, historically kind of come up short, either by a little bit of a choke issue or just getting a bit of unluckiness in the brackets and what have you. It does seem like, though, in recent times, he's had a lot more opportunity to shine, and a gold medal would look good around his neck.
My friend Xun, a big fan of best.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hard to silence the critics who are saying that we were glazing him too much during our ASL cast, but hey, you know what? Is what it is. Best was
Hey, you know what,
playing excellent.
We actually got critics saying that we were glazing Sulky too hard, even though we were cheering for best.
Well, I mean, two people can look at the exact same thing and see completely different pictures, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
You got that right. Yeah, it is what it is, and you can't please everyone. If you try, you'll please no one, certainly not yourself. So we won't even try. We're just gonna show you our love for this game and give you some good casts.
That's our main goal here in the SCSL, guys. Bringing the best possible casts. Make sure to like the video. Leave us some comments as well. I'm definitely checking up on some comments on the SCSL YouTube page here and there. Not answering all of them, but we do appreciate your support and your suggestions, however misinformed they may sometimes be.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate your support and your love. Even just your time, if you want to throw some hate our way, we don't take it personally. We know at the end of the day you might just be having a bad day or whatever. And yeah, just show us a little bit of love or hate, whatever suits you on the given day. And we'll continue to do what we do. And I just hope we see more great StarCraft. That's all I really care about saying. Like, I'm looking forward to the ASL coming up. I just want to see these players practice hard and play out of their mind and deliver us some great content.
Absolutely. More games like that last one on Death Valley. That's what I am always looking forward to when I sit down in front of my microphone ready to cast, just hoping for another game like that one. Here so far, no one's taken a big advantage, no one's gotten out of control here. Barracks building a lot of Marines once again, maybe looking for another fake double push, trying to repeat that earlier build, but hopefully not repeat the same mistakes as last time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be more or less a repeat of that build. He's done it almost identically to that initial opening we saw in this set on this series. He can protect this tank much more effectively. He's gonna he's actually bringing some SCVs with it this time. He's really doubling down on this effort. And I mean, maybe this will pay off a lot for him. I mean, he's already got the SCVs. They can body block, they can repair the tank, they can build a bunker for these Marines, and gives a lot of continuation value to a push like this, and makes it much more semi all-in. Like, he has to do damage with this. He can't just, go back and macro afterwards. He has to really do a lot of damage to his best here. SCV's blocking the ramp currently. Pro's got the line to help kill the Marines, though. Tank out of range of those Dragoons for the time being, but he has blocked those Dragoons, getting back to the safety of the high ground with the use of those SCVs, acting as linebackers. Pro still chipping away at those Marines. Now getting us around on that tank, trying to make it unable to micro. This slide from the Vulture makes it so the Dragoon does connect with it. That's a potential massive mind drag, though, and he kills so many probes, saying that was crazy.
Oh my goodness, that insane mind drag there. Oh wow. I mean, so many probes have gone down here. Best losing a ton of this economy. The Vulture plus Marines target firing down all of those probes while the SCVs were fighting with the Dragoon. I mean, this has gone extremely well for Barracks, I have to say. And I mean, he's trying to follow this up by getting mines right up inside this natural, but I think just getting mines down here in the front. He scouted the main, saw that there was a citadel. He should know that DTs are going to be coming here. As long as he has lots of mines in the front, he should be able to just contain best here and not allow these DTs to get any counter damage. Trying to break through this one by one. That's some great Bizu micro, just nailing those mines here as he tries to push forward. That'll open the way maybe for a DT counterattack.
Well, it's not just the DT counterattack that it opens up, but it means he guarantees production of probes from this Nexus and to go back to mining. Another mine hit It's that Zealot and Goon. But yeah, it does allow him to get double pro production back online and start mining in that natural expansion yet again. I mean, if this DT gets in here, that could be a big problem for Barracks, but technically on paper he is ahead, but he hasn't laid any mines at his natural expansion for this DT. The engineering bay is not finished. There's no mines here, saying there's no mines that are for safety in the natural expansion. He's going to obviously know about the DT, but without any mines being laid prematurely, like, he's in a little bit of trouble now.
Oh, he is in so much trouble, dude. If he just laid a couple of mines here with these two vultures waiting at the rally point, he could have avoided so much pain. Finally gonna try and get a turret up here in the natural, pulling the SCVs for a short period of time. It's not the same level of damage that Barracks was able to get with those early probe kills, but it's something for sure, and he's even gonna stop the turret from making for a little bit. Here comes a mine, another one gonna be placed here on the top side. Can he actually get any of these to connect? Oh my god, the SCV here, but he finally gets the connection and gets rid of that DT. Big moment there for Barracks as he clears that out and get back to mining and has full information about what's coming here. I guess he didn't see the Citadel when he went up into the main. I really thought he saw it with the SCV.
Well, I guess he didn't see it at all, and it makes sense. If he had seen it, he obviously would have laid down some mines and safety there. He has kind of avoided disaster, though. He's made the game a lot more playable for Best. If he didn't obviously lose that much mining time to the DT, he would just be stomping Best left, right, and center in the mid game. As it stands, oh, missed micro there on the Dragoons as well. Doing that Bisu micro can always go horribly wrong for you. Sometimes more inputs are worse. You need to be really precise in the timing of that whole position. Sometimes you can glitch out your Dragoons very easily if you're not careful. But yeah, I would say this game is playable for Best now, whereas if he hadn't have gotten that DT in there and did all that indirect damage by, you know, lost mining time, what have you, actually Barracks would be in a very commanding position. But as it stands, we've got a very playable game for both sides, so this could be a real interesting match.
Kind of looking like a Arbiter follow-up from Best. We get to see his Arbiter kind of rarely in this matchup, but sometimes throws it out. Mixes it in. He's definitely capable of playing a great game with Arbiter, and is one of the best at sliding those Zealots in with the bit of cloaking field from the Arbiter to just keep dealing damage, keep dragging mines, that sort of thing, into the Terran armies. So we'll be looking to that as a way for Best to kind of bring things back. Can he utilize that Arbiter cloaking field and prevent Barracks from pushing him without taking massive damage and taking bad trades because of that cloak?
He's also really good at baiting the Terran into bad positions, and then with like a very good stasis, completely winning a fight that he shouldn't be able to. That's a really great escorting of that probe, by the way. A lot of Protoss players would have probably just lost that probe there, but Best is on top of things, dotting his I's, crossing his T's, and he's doing a great job of coming back in this game from that very convincing early push that Barracks was able to execute. Suddenly not looking as hot in this game. Does have a pretty good siege timing, but I thought for a second he's going to lose a tank for free without killing anything, but he actually does kill 2 Dragoons for the loss of that tank. Not the worst case scenario here. Best needs to be a little bit tentative and careful that Barracks doesn't get away with being hyper aggressive right now and takes the high ground of this donut ring near his rally for free, which is what Barracks is trying to attempt to do right now. So Best needs to be very active in keeping forward with these units and preventing Barracks from pushing.
Oh, I don't like this from Barracks, man. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to cut you off there, but I was really looking at this force. Like, he lost so many of the fodder units to that earlier mine, all the Marines and some of the Vultures as well, and so these tanks hardly have anything to block them. The mines get connected here, and so many of these tanks have been killed. I think there's no real hope of finishing a push here for Barracks. He'll probably have to take a third base if he wants to continue in this game.
I mean, he had something to block with, saying unfortunately the only thing available to him was his face, so he sustained a lot of damage in blocking those attacks, unfortunately. Now a third base will be taken by by best, and yeah, resetting the tank count like that. It's a lot of wind out of the sails for the Terran player. You're pretty relegated to playing defensively after something like that happens. He's going to have to just rely on a lot of upgrades and just sitting back and macroing up. He's got a small contingency of vultures putting on some pressure, hoping to get a cancel on this Nexus because there's not that many Dragoons out, but when the rally point finally gets the next cycle going, he's got more than enough to clear out those three. So there's not really anything to play for here for best, at least for Barracks, and at least in the time being, he's going to have to just sit back and try and tech up from this position.
Oh, I'm surprised to see a starport here. I thought either 6 factory all in, or he was going to try and take a 3rd base, but it seems like he wants to get into possibly a dropship. See if he can get some damage going on best side of the map. At the same time, attempt to get this 3rd base online. It's going to be super slow, so he absolutely has to slow down best somehow here with either run bys or with those drops. And I guess this run by going to be slightly successful. Gets a probe or 2, subs by into the main, gets the information that it is indeed an arbiter here, and pushing forward. I can't imagine this push. How can this possibly work? He made a starport here, and he's been sitting on 4 factories the whole time. How is he going to push forward? Okay, he is going to back up, maybe try to take this 3rd. Gotta get spread, though, and he doesn't have turrets out in this front. Everything's just going to get jumped upon. This super late siege here from Barracks. He is falling apart right now. Absolutely. Oh, it's tough to watch, Xun. I mean, such a great start for Barracks, and he just completely lost it there. I don't know how else to say it.
I mean, it looked hopeful for him after that first successful push. He did so much economic damage to best, and then that clutch DT, the invisible man, comes in, kind of resets the balance of power and gives a much more playable state for best going forward. And honestly, the game was still fine for Barracks. It wasn't like, you know, he was in trouble or anything. He actually still had technically a little bit of an edge, and was maybe a bit too over-eager and overzealous in pushing along that northern flank of the donut, and kind of got caught with his pants down, reset the tank count. And I mean, he had the right idea of like going straight into starport and upgrades and taking a 3rd base. That's kind of what he had to do. But for some reason, he was adamant about pushing the high ground again, rather than just securing the midpoint between the rally and the 3rd, and, you know, spreading his tanks preemptively and what have you. A little bit questionable execution there for Barracks. Maybe a little bit of tilt, or just, you know, some panic maybe setting in or something, but certainly some uncharacteristic mistakes from him there in the latter end of that game.
I think maybe just not enough maneuverability there shown by Barracks. Like, he pushed up the high ground, like you were saying, 4 factory push up onto the high ground. A mine connection blows up all of his Marines and 2 of his vultures, and then he just continues on with the push. I think it would have been much better to kind of reset and just decide, all right, probably this push isn't going to work with all the fodder out of my army, all the vulture, or, you know, the vulture count so low. Probably best is going to be able to run this over. Maybe we go to plan B. But after all the tanks are dead, plan B is not a plan at all. It's just a recipe for disaster. Best takes away another game. Now on match point, guys, we're going to be going into this next match, this next fight. The final fight for Barracks. If he's not able to take down best here, he will be knocked out of this tournament. So, guys, let's jump into it.
제가 봤을 때는 그러니까 상대 선수 입장에서는 저희는 전지적 옵저버 시점이니까 이제 10 개수도 전부 다 확인을 할 수가 있었고,
Alright, we are ready. Barracks, center right, best, bottom left. Here on Dominator.
입장에서는 그거를 지금 뭐
It's time,
Xun. 볼 수가 없잖아요. 그래서 황병현 선수가 스스로 굉장히 유리하다고 생각을 하고 타이밍이 나갔던 것 같아요.
He may be going through. You might be right about your prediction there at the beginning of the video.
이제 그렇게 압도적으로 좋았던 건 아니었던 거죠.
Sometimes it's not fun when I'm right, saying, you know, it's kind of like a win-win, I guess. Like, either I'm right or I'm pleasantly surprised. But I'd kind of rather be pleasantly surprised. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of things I'd rather not be right about. Sometimes life's just more interesting when you get that unexpected turn. You know, you kind of go on a bit of a journey that you can't quite map out. It does seem to be that Best is dominating Barracks in this series, though. This map dominator, I mean, there's some hope for Barracks here. He's got this center of the board he can secure. There's a lot of like, little high ground doodads and what have you to funnel and choke up the potential assaults of Best from you know, breaking out open those positions. Light has basically demonstrated how to do that on this map, and Light is his mentor, so obviously Barracks knows how to do that adequately. The question is, can he execute something like that here today, or will he be playing a bit emotionally now? Like, he might be a little bit frustrated. We might even see a 2-factory play from him. It's certainly possible. I don't necessarily think he will do something like that, but when you're up against it as Terran and you get a little bit emotional, you start doing these like wackier ideas just because you feel like you can't win a straight up game.
Yeah, I think that's true in all matchups. And people sometimes default to those simpler and more aggressive builds. Just try and get one over on their opponent, get the momentum back, and it's pretty common to see 2-factory on this map. Surprisingly so.
Yeah.
Surprisingly common. I thought that was a build that was kind of going to go away at some point, and it seemed like it had maybe a couple of seasons ago, but it's made a major comeback here because of Dominator.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we even saw the likes of Light, who's usually, you know, a cold, collected, psychopathic killer of a player. Even he got emotional against the likes of Best in the ASL and pulled out the 2-factory when he, you know, kind of things didn't go his way. And this kind of happens, but it seems like Best, you know, he's not too shaky. He's taken 2 off of gas. He won't be going for that 2-factory play. He still feels confident enough to take it the distance here against Best. So far, so good. Needs to be careful against his first initial Zealot. We'll have to pull back these Marines to the safety of this building SCV on the factory, so he can safeguard that as well as join up with enough firepower to kick that Zealot out of his base. Has got a little bit of a high ground advantage, though, so he has to push with an SCV and the Marines to take this high ground away from Best. Want to be a little bit careful when you're on this low to high ground transition, since you can't see up it, obviously. So needs to be a little bit more tentative about how he takes this natural back again. He knows there's a Dragoon showing up, but this is a potentially good play from Barracks, already shaving off a lot of the shields off of that unit. So we'll be feeling a pretty safe indeed to take that. With the engineering bay block, I have to say, Saiyan, this is one of the better openings we've seen from Barracks today.
No, yeah, this is looking pretty good. I mean, he's put a lot of health onto that engineering bay. It is one of the faster buildings, maybe the fastest, cheapest building for the Terrans. So definitely the choice. Oh, what? Is that off? No, that's in the right spot. My gosh, kind of looked off there because of the broken or the shattered remains of that eBay, but my eyes are playing tricks on me. There we go. Another DT play from Best. Oh my goodness.
Ooh. Wow, I can guarantee you that Barracks isn't thinking about that. Like, Best goes for like DT play, maybe 1 in 5 games on average in PvT. He busts it out occasionally just to, you know, keep that build order obfuscation alive and to, you know, not let his opponents metagame him too much. But I can promise you that this is something that Barracks is probably not thinking about a lot right now. This is a good map to pull out something like a 2-base DT play into Arbiter play. But Barracks, after that game we just had on Deja Vu, will not be expecting to experience Deja Vu with the same build order twice here from Best. That's exceedingly unlikely for Best to go for DTs twice in a row.
Well, he's got the leeway to do so. He is ahead in this series, and so, you know, he can be a little bit more creative. He can be a little bit more unexpected. I feel like if this series was a bit closer, we probably wouldn't be seeing Best go for this. Most likely just sticking with his Reaver and into double shuttle and eventually high Templar style. This is kind of an interesting situation. Dragoon is all the way in the top left, dealing with that one SCV. It's been baited so far away from this fight that these tanks and Marines are just going to be able to walk in here uncontested and hold the high ground.
Yeah, but now the DTs are out. So I don't know how Barracks is going to respond to this. Like, I'm hoping he's got mines upgrade on the way, but there's a chance that he doesn't. There's a chance that he's kind of min-maxing his build and he cut that upgrade for a little bit of time. He should have, though. He should have that upgrade on the way and finishing up any second now. So I'm hoping that he's going to have some mines. The Vulture hasn't yet laid any. Should just about now. Oh no, please don't tell me he got the Vulture speed upgrade instead of the mines. Okay, he did get mines. Okay, for a second there I thought without any mines being laid he didn't get it, but he actually did get it. Target fire on the mines though from Best. Really well done. Still might get a lot done here. There is a turret in the backline. Dragoon buffering and soaking up some of those shots. He target fires the turret. There is no safety turret in the backline. One DT falls, but one DT will reign supreme in this natural expansion, trying to maintain his pressure. Tanks trying to suicide onto these goons and pull the DT away from these building turrets in the natural expansion. He's building 2 at a time now to try and hedge his bets against this DT.
Oh, there's 2 more DTs making their way in. This big mine drag as well gets a huge amount of damage, killing off about 3 more SCVs. This is a common occurrence in PvT, not able to get the turrets up because the DT damage is just too fast. There's so much DPS coming out of these 3 units that it's basically over for Barracks at this point. He's never going to be able to regain this high ground, and even if he does, that's going to be light years ahead at this point, with the full transition coming here into Arbiter a little bit later, and this 3rd base coming up all behind this. He is in an almost unlosable position here right now.
Yeah, I was experiencing a little bit of lag there, saying it's hard to tell what's going on. I think it's back now, but I mean, this is a great play from Beth. He also had a robo, so that if somehow Barracks was well defended here, he had a drop potential of the DTs to do a continuation. Nice scan, though, actually does clear up all of those DTs without the CC falling, so not the worst case in the world here for Barracks, but still Best with a commanding position and a natural, and a Nexus 3rd going up that's now mining. So I mean, all things considered, this is a very Protoss-sided game, temporarily at least.
Well, we're just not going to talk about the 32 HP CC that just lived in the natural. Come on, Xun. Oh my goodness, what was that?
No, I did say, like,
there's
it's great.
one swipe away by the DT, he would have lost that. And he almost let it burn down. He does manage to get this back up, though. My God. Oh, man. Bear's just barely hanging on, but really, what is he hanging in here for? This game is pretty much over. Best just needs to close this out. The position is undeniably amazing for our Protoss.
Yeah, I wish I could see the player cams, because it's so funny. Like, Barracks plays like a deer in headlights no matter what's happening in the game. His eyes are always just bulging out of his skull. Would love to see how much they were bulging at that moment of the CC almost falling to that DT. Reaver now coming into the main base, applying pressure to that turret. He's actually targeting the SCVs, which means there's an extra scarab required to finish that off. Now finally going to be applying more and more pressure. The tanks can deny too much damage occurring to this SCV line, but he still will lose a lot of mining time due to that Reaver, and is already doubling the supply of Barracks is Best in this game. I mean, this is going to be a very one-sided climax, I feel, saying. I mean, technically Barracks is alive, but I feel like Best is going to start toying with him.
I think the climax for all those Protoss players out there was when the DTs walked in, the Invisible Men walked in, and there was nothing to fight that. When the turret went down, that's when most Protoss players in the audience climaxed, I'm sure. That's how I imagine my Protoss opponents when they get a DT in there into my drone line and they've got like 14 kills, just, you know, pure ecstasy on their face.
Oh man, I'm trying to keep it together. The imagery is very hilarious, Sam.
Oh my goodness. Absolute degenerate Protoss players. But hey, it is what it is. Played a great game here today. Best. Invisible Man for the win. Here comes the shuttle with all of the Dragoons. Even though it's a pretty decent fight for Barracks, this is his only hope. And I mean, Best could handle this attack and the next attack and the next attack. No problem, just with what he has left over. And GG is called. Best is going to win once again, making his way into the semifinals with some style there, bashing through Barracks, the previous champion of the SCSL.
I mean, if Best does now, become crowned SCSL Season 4 champion, what better way than having eliminated the previous champion along your run? He will be facing off in the semifinals against the likes of either Rush or Bishop. Let's take a quick look at those brackets now.
All right, here is that bracket. Semifinals looking hot, Xun.
Oh yeah, like I really am curious about this Rush versus Bishop matchup as well, because both of these guys have pretty good TVTs, and anytime there's a random player involved, I'm stoked. And let's be honest, Terran is the best race against random because you have a cookie cutter option of going for bunker expand every game, which is good against all three races. Protoss and Zerg do not have that luxury. For example, you could go 12 pool, which is good against Zerg and good against Terran, not so much against Protoss. So there is hope here for Rush to take down this random crazy guy. But either way, I think we're going to have a great set between these two.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there, Xun. I'd like to add that Bishop is also a Terran player, right? So he knows how to abuse a Terran who's playing against random. He knows what's the hardest thing to take on, and so he's going to have that little bit of an advantage going into this matchup. Rush is not going to know what race Bishop is, and Bishop knows what that's like for a Terran player and how to abuse a player like Rush. I'm so curious to see who's going to go through. I think it's going to be Rush. It's just, for me, random is such a monumental task, learning all of these different matchups. It is possible, though, he beats Rush and we end up seeing Best versus Bishop in that semifinals. That would be very hype.
Yeah, it's not easy for these random players to prepare, by the way, guys. They essentially have to practice 9 matchups when they go into a tournament like this. But, equally, it helps out that their opponent has to prepare for 3 matchups when they do finally square off against them. So Rush won't be feeling super confident about that either. And if it was a situation where Bishop rolls Terran, Bishop could just go 14cc. And if Rush does go for a cookie cutter bunker expand, 14cc walks all over bunker expand and what have you. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to metagame when you are playing random to frustrate your opponent, no matter what race you get. So we'll have to wait and see what happens between those two guys. I think that's going to be a really interesting series and a lot more closer than the rest of the round of 8 has gone.
Yeah, it's going to be a great rest of the season, guys. Semifinals and a grand final should be awesome. We've had so many one-sided series so far. I don't know if this trend is going to continue, but this was still a very fun cast, Xun. Thank you so much for being here with me, guys. Everybody out there on YouTube, make sure to check him out, Xun SC on YouTube. Come and subscribe to my channel as well, saying KCM on YouTube, and check out the live stream if you can over at SCTVEN, superlivese.com/SCTVEN. That's it for today, guys. We'll see you next time for Rush versus Bishop. Take care.
Much love, guys.